Nintendo, creators of most likely some of your favorite games like Mr. Plumber and Alien.
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't spread over every egg.
Are probably still one of the best developers that we still have to this day, as they don't release piles of shit regularly. Anytime they do announce a new game, they will summon 5 million gay people in order to play Splatoon. But you also can't talk about Nintendo without talking about Zelda. It's one of those stapled games in their rosters. I mean, shit came out in fucking 1980s, coming out with classics like The Legend of Zelda, and then the guy that goes, lamp oil, ropes, bombs, you want it? It's yours, my friend, as long as you have enough rubies. Fun fact, that was the first time and the last time for a very long time that Nintendo let anyone else use their IPs. Anyway, Ocarina of Time. This shit came out in 1998 on the Nintendo 64. At that time, I was still swimming around in my dad's nuts. Pretty epic, huh? But just one thing, though. How the fuck was this game made for kids? You may look at it at first glance and be like, oh, I play as a little kid and I go around collecting shiny rocks to save the world. And then you grow up and you're like, oh, wait, I have to pay taxes? I have to pay tax. This was Detroit in the 1950s? They were one of the richest cities in the world? This is them now? The Shadow Temple? What the fuck? I think we should just talk about the game. You start the game proper by sleeping in your bed and being pestered by a fly that will at most help you about 6 to 7 times through your playthrough. After that, you go and try to talk to the Great Deku Tree, but this stupid motherfucker right here, he says, what's that? Oh, no, you can't go see him. You don't got a sword and shield, buddy.
Oh, maybe if you get that, maybe I'll help you.
Guess what? Going to fucking kill him as soon as I get a sword and shield. Now that you have access to the wise mystical tree, he gives you the quest to go and save the world. And then fucking dies as soon as you free him from a termite. After that, it's really up to you what you want to do. You could go talk to the princess, where she'll say, oh, Link, I need you to help get the other 2 crystals so we can stop. Shut up, wench! I'm jamming out with these goddamn tree folk right now, having an absolute blast. I have no time for your fucking games. You want to play mini-games for about like 6 hours straight? Sure, why not? About selling masks, so you can get a mask that allows you to read people's minds, and all of them will literally tell you to fuck off. A bit hurtful, but yeah, I mean, you can't do that. Or maybe you just want to go to Gerudo Village and sit there because they have the best song in the entire game. Now, eventually, you do have to listen to this so-called Princess Zelda and collect these crystals. So, you got this red one, it's located up in Death Mountain. But first, you gotta go play some music for this man to cure his depression. That's how that shit works. For curing his eternal sadness, he gives you these golden bracelets that allow you to commit acts of domestic terrorism. You use these acts of new terrorism, and you go and kill a giant fire-breathing lizard. I take that as a win in my book. Next thing is the blue crystal located in Zora's domain. This place is filled with fish. And guess what? It's filled with more fish. It's all fish. You see, you gotta go help Kingfish by going into this big fish, by feeding that big fish a fish, so you can go in there and save Princess Fish, or she will then give you the blue crystal, and in return, she is now your wife. Young love, it's absolutely beautiful.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
Now you can go save the world. You can defeat Ganon. Except, now Ganon is like, today I will steal a child. And so, in Zelda's pursuit, she throws you the Ocarina of Time, and now you are able to become an adult. With your transformation into adulthood, you have been granted the use of the Master Sword. But this comes with a price. You see, an old man tells you that you have to stop Ganondorf from finding
The One Piece!
You must awaken all 6 sages in order to defeat him. And let me tell you, everyone you knew, they're a sage now. Brother Darunia, how the fuck you pronounce his name, he's one of them. Wife? Good. Now she won't nag me while I'm out fishing. You go through all these temples, killing the big old meanie at the end of the dungeon. And then you go to kill the King of Darkness himself. You know how you kill him? By playing a round of tennis. You also stab him in the face. But the tennis is the most important part. And after, you are crowned the hero of time, and you have officially saved the world from Ganon's eternal darkness.
Like that's ever gonna happen. What a load
Now let's talk about gameplay. You see, this game released on the N64. So, if you are going to play this, I do have to warn you. This game has one of the world's shittiest controllers. I don't care who you are, the N64 controller fucking sucks. It has 1 joystick, 6 buttons, a D-pad, 2 bumpers, 1 trigger, and people expect you to play GoldenEye 64 with this piece of shit. To put this in perspective, the PS1 released a year after the N64's official release a dual analog controller. You know what that means? It had 2 joysticks. So the controller that you have seen basically everywhere for the PlayStation is completely similar to how it was in 1997. Nintendo did not update their controller at all until the GameCube. I wonder why. So because of how this controller was made, the game developers had to work around this, which came with a janky camera and annoying aiming system. Now, it's not like the worst thing in the world. I mean, it is passable for how it was designed, but for someone who is new coming into the game, you're probably gonna have to get used to it a bit slower because it's most likely something you're not used to. You see, Link's camera is always pointed behind him. Link will always be directly in the center of the screen, and the camera will try its best to follow him around. Now, the reason it can get a bit janky is because sometimes when you go up to a ledge, the camera will point down to show you there's either stuff down there or it is a bottomless void. You can use a first-person camera to look around, which is good and helps a lot, but there are other times when you are in a maze. You can't really look anywhere besides straight, and straight is just a wall with spikes that'll shoot out of the wall every 6 seconds, and you can't really turn the corner to take a peek as the camera is always pointing straight, and you don't want to get hit by spikes because you peeked out too far. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's just gonna take a bit getting used to if this is your first time playing. For someone like me, who has played a bit of this before, I'm already used to it. Overall, though, the game is incredible. There are tons of things to do in the game other than the main quest, and all these side activities reward you with health increases, money, and other useful items. Things like fairy fountains are hidden throughout the world, and these give you magical powers, as well as magical horniness. You can play songs for frogs, and these guys will give you some health. And of course, you can't forget about the golden skulltulas. These things are scattered around the entire map, and you can get increased money pouches from them. And then there's probably tons of other secrets in this game that I have not found yet because this game doesn't really work well with my brain. You see, my brain is smooth. It's like wax.
No winkles.
And speaking of my smooth brain, let's talk about dungeons. They're all really good. They all have their own unique gimmick that really sets them apart from one another. And I would be lying to you if I didn't say that I basically stared at a wall for about 2 hours while I tried to figure out, oh, I can climb this, or I can push this. Other than my own stupidity, though, all the dungeons are very fun and interesting, and they all have their own unique challenge. The Water Temple, for instance, has you use Zelda's Lullaby to raise the water level so you can traverse the temple. The Shadow Temple needs to use the Eye of Truth so you can see invisible walls or platforms so you can progress, so go and defeat the boss, which also needs the Eye of Truth. And Ganon's Castle is this culmination of everything that you've learned into this one place, so you have this final challenge. Other than secrets and dungeons, there's also minigames like Bambuja Bowling, treasure hunting, and rupee shooting. And of course, the best minigame of all, fishing. You know what they say, of course I come fast. I need to go and fish. These are the fun side jobs that you can do, and they do give you rewards, and I would recommend you go play them, especially fishing. You could get a heart piece maybe. And finally, you got the combat. It's simple, fun, straight to the point. Give the enemy a couple whacks, they out for good, alright? Enemy's got a shield, wait for him to attack, then you stab him in the ass. Enemies flying, gun. These spooky motherfuckers use the sun song, and now these guys frozen in place, waiting for you to beat the ever-living shit out of them. It's pretty simple. Bosses kind of work the same way their dungeons do. They use the gimmick that the dungeon uses. Like I stated previously, in the Shadow Temple, you need the Eye of Truth in order to see the boss. This giant fire-breathing dragon in the Fire Temple, you gotta bash his fucking brains in with a hammer so you can stab his brains. It's pretty simple. It makes the bosses feel fleshed out and truly unique to that temple. It never really gets stale when you go and fight another boss. Now, maybe you want to play Ocarina of Time. Well, you're in luck. There's actually a pretty good amount of options that you could do. You could get a Nintendo 64. Depending on how much you're willing to pay, it could either be a miserable experience or an okay experience. But you do have to deal with the world's shittiest controller, which kind of sucks for you. You could get this on the Nintendo 3DS via their full remaster of Ocarina of Time, which comes with completely new graphics and I think some new gameplay features, but don't quote me on that. And lastly, you could get it on the Nintendo Switch via Nintendo's subscription online service. I think it's about $35 for a year. Or you could just emulate it. I did, yeah. I'm not paying $35 for a game that came out in 1998. It's pretty much abandonware. Now, to all the console purists out there who say, if it's not on the original console, it shouldn't be played at all, or it's not the authentic experience, you are wrong. I'm just going to put it blatant out there. You are wrong. I played the PC port of Ocarina of Time. I didn't know there was a PC port of Ocarina of Time until the making of this video. And that's how I started playing it. And let me tell you, it comes with actually a great deal of good features that are just quality of life improvements, such as free cam, meaning I can actually look around with my right joystick. The D-pad actually doing something, because if you have played Ocarina of Time, you will know that the D-pad is literally meaningless. It does nothing. And of course, you have increased frame rates and increased resolutions. That doesn't mean I have to look at pixelated polygon boobies. Now I can look at 4K polygon boobies. I think that alone will get everyone to play the PC port. Or really emulation, because you can do that on either or. In conclusion, if you're looking for a classic game to maybe bring back some memories of your childhood, and then instantly rip them away from you because you realize you're an adult now and you can't get those back, then you should go and play some Ocarina of Time. It's got some jank, yeah, but I mean, it's an old game. What do you gotta do? The game is great. You should go play it, or you could, I don't know, go play like Breath of the Wild or something. I don't fucking know. Go do you. Anyway, like, sub, bye.
A lonely electron with nothing to do. Pairs up with a neutron for a cocktail or two. Atomic kisses survived by a few. They had a nuclear blast.